All right. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Unlocking Excellence with your main man, Eric Schwefel. What is going on, y'all? And today we have a very special episode. It is episode number 42. The reason why I say it is so special is because 42 is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. I don't know if you've seen it before, but it's from that quote is from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's one of my favorite movies. It is such an odd movie, but in it they have a race of a species who created a giant supercomputer named Deep Thought. And Deep Thought, the supercomputer, thought for a very long time about this, and the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything, the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is 42. So I always thought I think it's pretty funny. Anyway, so welcome to episode number 42 of the Unlocking Excellence podcast. It's so good to have you here. If you haven't, I encourage you to check out a few of the other episodes. And it's been a little while since we've talked. I went on vacation. I got to go to a cousin's wedding in Wisconsin a couple weeks ago, and that was really, really nice. And then from that point, I joined a new coaching program. There's just been a lot happening, so I'm glad to be here with you. I'm glad to be talking with you again. And today, what I want to highlight is actually a little bit more health. So it's been a little while since we've done that. I think the last time that we really hit health was on the daily checklist. It was, I believe, episode number 31. And the reason why I wanted to highlight this is because of the pandemic that we're in. And we have an episode where we clearly talked about what you can do during the pandemic, but just how important it is to really take care of your health, right? So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into that. I wouldn't necessarily call myself an expert, and the reason for that is because, I'm not a doctor, but I've been in the coaching industry and the fitness industry for a good while now, just under 15 years, actually. I started training and working out seriously when I was 16, going on 17 years old. And the reason for that, give you a little background story, is because I wanted to join the football team. I thought that would have been the coolest thing in the world, right? Like, you're tough, you're strong. And it's one thing I wanted to prove to myself. And there was some other reasons too why I wanted to get into it. I thought it would be a good way to get in shape. Thought it would be a good way to get tough, to change my mental toughness and my focus and my attitude on things, right? Because even at that age, I felt like I was living in a lot of fear, and I thought football would be one of the ways to get me out. And it would be one of those ways to get me out because of what it would force me to do and where it would force me to go. Meaning, you can't just hit somebody and be happy about it, right? You gotta have some type of aggression, some type of force to be able to really get on the field and perform at your best. So that's where I ended up going, was doing football for those purposes, right? Getting into working out for those purposes. And then I found what I really enjoyed, and that was powerlifting. And that moved into bodybuilding, and that's moved into sports performance training. That's moved into general population training. That's moved me way back in the day. I did martial arts, Taekwondo, and now I'm into martial arts again, doing Silat Tekpi and doing something called Silat, Kuntao Silat Torres Tiga, and then also doing some Tai Chi, Yang style form Tai Chi. So moved all over the place within that spectrum, right? And one of the things that I've noticed is how important it is to keep your health right and to keep your body in check. So recently, I am coming to understand that we are not our bodies, right? We are electromagnetic impulses, let's say that, right? Electromagnetic beings that are in this body. So what I mean by that is, like, our consciousness, who we are, is not the essence of who we are is who we are, right? It's not our body, it's not our shape, it's not our thoughts. We are the thinker of our thoughts. So I've begun to think even more of how our body is not who we are, but how important it is to take care of our body, right? In the Bible, it says that the body is your temple. It's the temple of God, right? And what it's referring there too is that God lives within you. And depending on what words you like to use, you can use God, the universe, you can use whatever religion and whatever source is prevalent for you. And with that, right, you want to be able to take care of the temple, because if the temple isn't in good condition, then you're not really honoring and respecting that which is within it. So what I've noticed over time is as we grow, our bodies just become more and more sensitive. They become more and more sensitive. I work with a ton of people who are over 40 years old, and they tell me when 40 comes around, it's like you can sniff food and you'll gain weight. And all the bad habits that you had over the past couple of years, they just kind of accumulate into this one. They just kind of accumulate, and it's very hard to get rid of them because you've been doing them for so long. And that is one of the things that we want to address today, is getting into the habit of taking care of yourself and showing your body love. And by showing it love, I don't just mean having, like massages and having like pampering it, basically acting as if you're royalty or as if you were a high ranking class citizen that just enjoys pleasure all day. No, that's not just what it's about, right? It's about utilizing it. And some of the different ways that we can really take care of our body, of course, we've mentioned it before, but it's getting enough water, and it's making sure the quality of your water is up there, because there's water that is not high quality, right? The minerals that are normally in water, they're out, or maybe the molecules aren't as structured as they can be. So you can buy water that's been injected with ion, it's been ionized, and you can buy water that's much more basic on the alkalinity. It's more on the alkaline side. It's more alkaline on the pH balance scale, and that will help your body. You can add lemon water into your water, and that will help bring your natural pH level down into the basic area, right? Because if you're too acidic, it doesn't map out well. And one of the things that I've learned and that I've noticed to be true over the past couple of years is that the more acidic you are, the more inflamed you are, the more stressed out your body is, the harder it is going to be to get the results that you want and to function in the life that you want. So it is so important, right, to not only take care of your body, but take care of your mind and your emotions. Because if you're always living in a state of stress and you're always living in a state of like, oh my God, this is happening to me, and this is happening, and this is happening, and you're scattered and you're out of control, you're going to exhaust yourself. I mean, I'm getting exhausted just talking about it and thinking about this kind of stuff, right? So it's going to be vital to get high quality water, high quality H2O into your body. It's going to be vital to make sure that you're eating right. Now, not only getting enough calories in, but also having higher quality foods. So over the past couple of weeks, what I've been doing is making sure that I get enough food in. Okay. So for me, I get anywhere between like 9,000 and 15,000 steps in per day. I'm a pretty active person. I'm standing up, sitting down a lot. I'm stretching, I'm moving weights, I'm demonstrating exercises. So I've noticed that it's very important for me to make sure that I'm getting my water, I'm getting my food, and I'm getting enough food, because to be honest with you, I find it very easy to forget to eat. Your attention gets captured by something, and you end up just not being able to take the time because you're giving your time to something else, and you forget to eat. So one of the priorities that we need to put into place is that eating, or actually that getting your food, is a priority. Now, what does that look like though? Getting enough food in. One, it's dependent on the person because of your basal metabolic needs. It's dependent upon your activity level. It's dependent on your environment, what you have available to you. There's a lot of different ways to get the right amount of food in. One of those ways is intermittent fasting. You can do your research there. Of course, keto is an option, not my favorite. You have the caveman diet, you have Mad Dog diet, you got the DASH diet. There's so many different ways, right? But what I want to emphasize for you today is notice how foods make you feel more so than anything, right? Because I can sit here and I can tell you all day that you need to eat well and that you need to get enough exercise and you need to do this and you need to do that. But it's not going to happen unless you actually experience it and you start thinking this stuff. So one of the things that I encourage you to do is just to try a new food every once in a while, or to try to see what it feels like to fast, and then to not fast, and then to get your food in, and it's not, and start experimenting and start seeing what works best for you. Because when you actually start to take ownership of this, then you'll notice that you can take ownership of more things in life, right? This victim mentality that's perpetuating the world, especially the United States right now, is affecting our personal lives, not so much the outside realm of things, right? Like the things that we can't control, it's definitely affecting, but now it's the victim mentality is causing us to look at things that we can control and still victimize ourselves. So I would encourage you to look at the things that you can control and actually take control of them. Of course, on the checklist is going to be to schedule your workouts in. And if you don't know what you want to do as far as a workout goes, then you can hire somebody. You can go on Google. You can look at different workouts that people do. You can follow. There are people that give tons and tons of free content. I mean, I'm giving you free content right here to help you figure out what it is that you need to do. Now, to find the workout isn't that difficult, but the big thing is going to be to figure out what you want to do, right? Like, what is your overall goal? And this might help you out. So I'm working with 2 different coaches right now, and they are absolutely phenomenal. And one of the programs hasn't even started, and I'm just getting huge breakthroughs already from this guy. And one of the things that he talks about is who you are at an identity level, right? Who are you in your subconscious mind and your subconscious area? So if you're an exerciser, then it's not going to be a question for you to exercise. If you're not, then you're not, right? If you're a smoker, like you smoke cigarettes, then you know that you're a smoker and that you're going to go for it. And if you're not, then you're not, right? There's some things that we do and some things that we don't. So what we want to do is we want to flip that switch so that we become the person, we become the thing that we want to be before it actually happens. Does that make sense? Like on the inside. So what I mean by that is you become the exerciser, you become the person that makes better food choices, you become the person that drinks more water, that takes care of their body and sees their body as a priority. Now, when you come from that place, it isn't a question as to whether or not you're going to take care of your body, it's how you're going to take care of your body. Does that make sense? So we're shifting your thinking into, should I do it, to no, it's happening, but how is it happening? So think long term about this, okay? Because most people think I can work out for a year and then I'll be fine. No, it's something that exercising and moving is something that happens for the rest of your life. It just depends on the season that you're in, right? Even great athletes know that there's an on season, there's an off season, there's a rest season, there's a rebuilding so that you don't have as much injury. Matter of fact, in professional sports, we're seeing tons of injuries happening right now because of the lack of training due to COVID, right? These guys weren't able to get into the greatest shape that they needed to be, and now they're getting injured for it. That's because they didn't take care of their body due to outside circumstances, right? They were not in control. They didn't allow themselves to take ownership and responsibility, which is not their fault really, because the organizations didn't even know what was happening. So there's kind of just like a cluster F of everything that's going on in life right now. So the thing that I encourage you to do is think super long term. And one of my coaches told me about this, or helped me discover this really. He didn't tell me. I play a long game, right? I play long term for a lot of things. But the long term that I've been playing, I've realized hasn't been long enough. It's only been 3 to 5 years in the future. What if I started thinking 10 years into the future, 20 years into the future, and start really building even more than that? Then it would make the actions that I take now even more significant, because I'm thinking about how this butterfly effect will impact me in the future, right? How this thing is going to impact me like the butterfly effect in the future. It's the ripples that you're sending out now and what you'll receive on the back end. So the thing that I encourage you to do is increase your long-term thinking. How long-term are you actually thinking right now? Is it even really that long-term that you're thinking right now? And if it's not, then why not? So think about that, right? Really, really ask yourself those different types of questions, because then you don't have to judge yourself. You don't have to judge yourself with the answer. But what you begin to do is you begin to allow yourself and give yourself the opportunity to think differently and to think from a different level. So this is actually from one of my coaches too, and I really enjoyed it. What we're doing here is we're taking your thinking from ground zero all the way up to the rooftop. So imagine you're in New York City, you're at ground level, you can see the concrete jungle of all the buildings around you, right? But you can't see too far ahead of you. Maybe it's just a couple blocks before there's a building in your way, or you turn left and right and it's just a few blocks, if not just a few feet before a building's in your way and it's blocking your view. But let's say that you go to one of the tallest buildings in New York and you're in the same location, right? So let's say it's like the example that was used was 432nd Street, I believe. So you're at 432nd Street, and then you go up to the top of the building on 432nd, and then all of a sudden you can see New Jersey. You can see, if you're in New York City, you can see New Jersey. You can see the Empire State Building. You can see basically all of Manhattan and the boroughs that are there because you are at a higher spot than you were before. You're in the same location physically, right? You're still at 432nd Street, but now you're higher up. So that's what we're doing, is we're elevating your thinking, and we're elevating the way and changing the way that you perceive and interpret things, so that we can now really, really dive into what is the most important thing. Because if you were to strip everything away from your life right now, the food, the cars, the cars, the house, you would be okay, right? Now, I say this in the sense of you would still be alive. You might be super stressed out and all this, but you would still have your health ultimately, right? We were born with our body, and that's the one thing we can't take anything with us, but we have our body our entire life. So the thing that I urge for you to do is start thinking differently about your body. Notice the food that you're putting in there and ask yourself, is this food really good for me in the long term? Or is it just pleasing to my palate in the moment? I think about cookies. I'm a big sugar person. I have a sweet tooth. And what I've realized over the last couple of days and weeks is I haven't been eating as much sweets. And then two, when I do, man, my stomach gets tore up, y'all. A couple of weeks ago when I got back from Wisconsin, I had Chinese food, and my stomach was torn up for a couple days, probably from the MSG and the sodium. You see, when I was in Wisconsin, we were staying on my uncle's farm, and we had nothing but organic food, whole food, nothing really processed. So then when I get Chinese food, all that MSG and all the sodium that's in it, and the sweet and the fried, my stomach couldn't take it. And there's so many of us who are used to and who have acclimated to the terrible freaking processed food that we don't even notice when we feel terrible anymore. Think about that. You might not even notice how bad your body is feeling and how stressed out you really are. So the things that I urge you to look at, right? We've mentioned a few during this, but without taking up too much more of your time, look at what your stressors are, look how you're feeling throughout most of the day, do a check-in. Watch how you sleep, how you plan your day. Are you scattered? What is your emotional state mainly throughout the day? And then when you start to notice that, you'll start to notice, man, I'm giving my attention away to a lot of things that I don't need to be anymore. And if I really just focused on my health, how I feel, how I'm interacting with those that are important to me, then if I focus on the important things, they're going to reap loads and loads of benefits back to me. So we'll keep it short. We'll keep it sweet. That will be the end of episode 42, the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure that you're taking care of your body, y'all. That was the biggest thing. A couple of supplements to look out for and to have in your repertoire might be a protein supplement, maybe some creatine if you're looking to recover faster and build some muscle. You're definitely going to want to get some vitamin D, some vitamin K, some vitamin C. That's going to help out with your immune system. In the morning, I like to use apple cider vinegar. I like to use D-aspartic acid to help out with natural testosterone. As I'm getting older, I'm realizing that your natural testosterone drops. So we want to keep that up. You want to get some lemon water, maybe some lime water. That's going to help keep you basic. It's acidic, but once you digest it, it helps keep you basic. You're going to want to drink plenty of water in the morning to help rehydrate you from the day before. And I think I want to say that's about it right now. Make sure that you're getting plenty of vegetables, have your greens powder available to you, and make sure that you keep reminding yourself that you're unstoppable. A lot of what stops us and a lot of what holds us back are our own thoughts about a situation, not our feelings, because our feelings come from our thoughts, right? So if you feel like you can't do something, then it's because of what you're thinking. But The big thing is going to be to make sure that you are mindful of how you are showing up, and then being able to separate yourself from the habits that you no longer like, So I hope you got something out of this. I love you. We'll talk soon. And if you need anything, just send me a message, send me an email, eric@schwefelstrength.com. You can message me on Instagram. You can message me on Facebook, wherever it is. Make sure you subscribe to this so that you get the podcast when they come out. And I hope that you have a wonderful day. You, my friend, are unstoppable, and we'll talk soon. Peace.